Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Students, I am starting Russell's essay Philosophy for Laymen. Before this, we have studied philosophy and politics, in which we discussed the relationship between philosophy and politics and how philosophers help the politicians. Then the three major divisions of philosophy and different philosophical ideas. We know that Russell is a philosopher and he wrote many essays on philosophy, and his philosophical idea of world government we studied in his essay Future of Mankind. Now he wrote Philosophy for Laymen. In this essay we will discuss the use of philosophy for a layman, how it is necessary, what is the concern of layman with philosophy. So let's begin. First paragraph, which is in front of you, is the need of philosophy. Not religiously but scientifically talking, and including the Darwin's theory of evolution, when man was at his first stage, he was barbaric, brutal, and savage. There was no question of knowledge and education at that time, so his intellect was totally governed and controlled by his emotions. His decisions were rash decisions. He was full of anger, and every emotion which we can consider in negative emotion was totally dominated the whole personality of man, or I just say man. So when civilization of mankind started, he became very knowledgeable, and education started gaining education. There were two problems which he faced. The number one was the problem of gaining control over the forces of nature. Nature is a powerful aspect. So nature is powerful. So he was sometimes was destroyed by the forces of these natures. There was no shelter. He was living in forest. Whenever storms came, the winds blow. It was not possible for him to survive. He was not able to face the power of nature. And the second problem was learning the best way of utilizing such control. When he learned the control, that how to gain control over the forces of nature, then what is the best way to utilize that control? The first problem, which is gaining control over the forces of nature, was solved with the help of science. No, science is not the name of a book that somebody wrote a book and that the total methods were presented, scientific methods. It is a systematic kind of knowledge, and hypotheses were created. Hypothesis means they considered the existence of things which really don't exist, and then the verification of those hypotheses on the basis of knowledge gained, and at the end the hypothesis was either rejected or accepted on the basis of their knowledge. And the knowledge which finally came was not the knowledge only, but it was an experience. So knowledge was acquired, the skills were acquired. So the man produced tools on the basis of that scientific knowledge, and the weapons were created to fight the wild animals and other forces of nature. Animal which is also part of nature, and they are very forceful. And at that time, when man was not equipped with weapons, he was killed and dominated by those wild animals. First, he generated the idea of fire to control these wild animals, and have come out victorious in the grim struggle for existence in the world. So it was existence of men in this world was out of question without this scientific knowledge, without these skills, because whenever he came in confrontation with these wild animals or forces of nature, he was totally destroyed. So his existence was out of question, and with the help of this knowledge and these equipments, he became very victorious and successful. Now, as regarding the utilization of these techniques, the human race not made much progress. The progress which we have right now in the modern world, it is not the required or actual progress which should be or targeted. As a result, scientific progress has hardly been able to add to our happiness. We have already discussed in another essay that the science or scientific knowledge didn't add in our happiness, because the benefit of the invention of agriculture continued to remain neutralized through centuries as a result of the human sacrifices involved. The very powerful example in this regard is in the field of agriculture. When people were superstitious, there was no knowledge, they used to sacrifice an infant or a girl in the name of randomly any god. He or she was sacrificed and killed, and his body was cut into pieces and thrown in the field on the name of the god. So it remained in the field of agriculture, the scientific knowledge remained neutralized, and the human beings were still sacrificed on the name of gods. So according to Russell, if we want to get the full view of our scientific skill, we must solve the problem of utilizing it properly. It means the scientific knowledge was discovered, the equipments and techniques were invented, but there was no proper use of these techniques. So men were still sacrificed. So the second problem was the best utilization of these resources, and we failed to utilize them. It means among two problems, the first problem was solved. It means we gained control over the forces of nature, but the second problem was not successfully solved, that we didn't use or can't use the best way of utilization of these resources. We can do so through having a broad knowledge of the human universe, and it is possible that first we gain the knowledge of the universe, and this is only possible through philosophy. But first we learn philosophy, and then how to control the human universe. When we learn how to use our scientific knowledge, when we learn to use how to use our scientific knowledge or with scientific skills, then the menaces like the atomic bombs will disappear in the world. On the basis of our scientific skills, we have invented atomic bombs, But if we learn that how and when to use these atomic bombs, why we use these atomic bombs against innocent peoples, and if we throw these bombs in one country, the destruction will be mass destruction, not only in that particular country where the bomb will be thrown, but it will bring results, bad results, all around that place. Second paragraph is the philosophy is a guide to wisdom. If we want to be wise, if we want to learn wisdom, that how we can free-minded and can freely use our mind to control our emotions, and we can learn the best possible ways of life and using different resources, skills, techniques and weapons to produce happiness for our own sake and for other people in the world. We must learn through philosophy. It can cultivate our mind. It can grow the faculties of our mind. So a distinction has been made between professional philosophy which is for the sake of teaching, and philosophy as a guide to wisdom. And the latter should be made a part of general education. When philosophy is divided into further divisions, the philosophy, professional philosophy and philosophy for the sake of wisdom. So this second part of philosophy, that philosophy as a guide to wisdom, must be the part of our general education. We must teach our pupils this philosophy. Here Russell is not talking about ambiguous philosophy or the struggling or hard kind of philosophy which is impossible for students to learn, because at their early age they may not be able to speculate, to create hypotheses, to understand the structure of the universe. But we at least teach them which can add into their knowledge to become creative and wise men. The third paragraph is the true object of philosophy. Students, Russell says that philosophy always has two different objects which were believed to be closely interrelated with each other. The first is the aim. It aimed at a theoretical understanding of the structure of universe. Universe means including everything which exists on earth, and then in the sky all meteorites, sun, moon, all the planets, all the stars, etc. So what is the structure of the universe? And it remains a big question for the philosophers of Greek era. They also discussed the structure of the universe. And the second thing which they discussed, and which is also the second object of this philosophy, that what is the place of men in this universe, or it tried to devise the best possible way of life. What is the best possible way of life, or what is the existence of, or the role of men in this universe? So these two big objects of philosophy were discussed, and these are still discussed. So every philosopher has its own point of view regarding these two questions. Thus it has a close connection with science on one hand and with religion on the other hand, because the structure of this universe is discussed by scientists, and they still finding this structure of the universe. That's why the man has working in the NASA. They are sending their satellites in space, where they learn and have established the scientific stations, space stations, where they learn the structure of the universe, the stars. They discuss whatever exists in this universe, they discuss it, they learn about it. And the second thing, that what is the best possible way of life, it is the duty of religion to teach us that how to live and what is the purpose of living in this universe, on this earth. Although in our religion, Islam, we are also told the structure of the universe in Quran Pak. So for us, we have knowledge, we are given knowledge. Anyhow, until the 18th century, science was considered a part of philosophy. But later, the science was and science and philosophy were divided into two parts. And now it is considered that philosophy is nothing more than speculations. And about philosophers, it is a common belief or notion that philosophers have nothing to do instead of only making speculations. And there is no proof of their speculations. It means philosophy is unprogressive, and the science is ever increasing into other fields and growing its knowledge. So Russell regrets this attitude towards philosophy, and here he is becoming the advocate of philosophers, and he's saying that this attitude of valuing science and regretting and disgrace brought against philosophy, it is totally a biased attitude, and such we tend to ignore its contribution, the contribution of philosophy. For example, he gave the example of Anaximander, a great Greek philosopher. He said that he gave the theory of evolution in 6th century BC, which couldn't be verified at that time, and it was dismissed and considered just a philosophical speculation. But later, the same theory was presented with some verifications by a scientist Darwin. So it was totally considered because he gave the evidence which was not possible at that time for Anaximander. And also it is not the duty of those philosophers to verify these speculations, because the crux of their knowledge is just the speculation and the presentation of these theories. But we now accept Darwin's theory as science, not philosophy, and the total credit is given to Darwin. So we tend to ignore the possibility that Anaximander could have encouraged Darwin's theory, and thus we deprive him of his due credit. Because Darwin took this theory from Anaximander and he enforced Darwin to prove it and present it. So why we don't encourage Darwin? Next is the usefulness of philosophy. What is the use of philosophy and how philosophy is useful? Till this discussion, science and philosophy are discussed separately because science and philosophy were separated by some people, and now it is a common notion that philosophy and science are both different. Now we have to find a common root, or the point where we can accept one point of view. If we say that science is more progressive and now the credit of modern innovation and discoveries only goes to these different scientists, and we just reject philosophy as just making speculations only, it is totally wrong. And if we say that philosophy is only useful knowledge and there is no use of scientific knowledge and scientific skills and scientific discoveries, which is also our biased and totally neglectable point of view. It means we should always remember that skill can never be an alternative to wisdom, and that science used with wisdom can become the greatest blessing to mankind. It means we must amalgamate the knowledge of science and philosophy. As philosophy provides us wisdom and science provides us tools and weapons and equipments, so we must learn wisdom from philosophy and we must take these skills from science, and now we use them combinedly. Then we can use these scientific skills with wisdom, which will add happiness in human beings. Philosophy can help the growth of a balanced attitude towards science by showing us the possibility and limitations of our scientific knowledge. Now we have to consider that science has a limited knowledge, and there are many questions whom science couldn't answer, and the answer can only be provided by religion. For example, the question of questions about life after death, the purpose of the universe, etc., have remained and will for a long time remain unanswered by science, because science was grown or came into existence on the basis of matter, and it has concern with our body. It doesn't answer about our soul or the existence of our soul and what will happen after our death. It has to be left to philosophy to keep exploring these universal problems, that what will happen after death and what is the purpose of this universe. Next is two dangers philosophy may guide against. There are two dangerous attitudes, and Russell is totally against them. One is dogmatism and the second is skepticism. Students, keep in mind that Russell was totally against dogmatism and again was against skepticism. Dogmatism means there is only certainty. When you are only certain and you are not ready to accept even to listen any kind of uncertainty, it means you always consider that you are having knowledge and there is no need of further development. The dogmatism can leads to violation, it can leads towards war, because a dogmatic person must not be ready to change his point of view, and he will not accept the point of view of majority, and which is the accepted point of view and which is verified point of view, and he is not ready to shake his dogmatic point of view. And skepticism is also a danger to the knowledge of humanity, because there is only uncertainty in it. A skeptic person can't be certain about anything, and for that he needs further knowledge, further experiences to reach at the position of certainty. So one believes in truth only, and which is dogmatism, that they only have knowledge and they have truthful knowledge, and where the question of skepticism, there is only ignorance. So these are two different poles apart from each other, and the major atrocities of the world committed on the capitalist in communist countries and on the Jews in Nazis German can be cited as a consequence of the illogical belief in the certainty of convictions. These are the real example, because in this world communist countries and capitalist countries remained always in quarrel with each other, and they brought destruction in the world. And what is done by the Nazis? They became dogmatic, and they said that we are the chosen people of God and we will change the structure of the universe, that we are self-esteemed nations and it is duty by God to bring happiness in the world, and that's why they killed Jews. So both these are dangers in the history given the example by Russell, and these are still dangerous. The Russell feels that the right thing is to associate all our convictions with the element of uncertainty. For example, a person who is a Democrat should never convince himself that democracy is the best system of government. A person who is Democrat, he shouldn't be dogmatic that democracy is the best system, political system or the system of government. There must be a little bit uncertainty in it. Otherwise, if any political system much better than democracy will bring by someone in the world, he may not be ready to accept it. But if he has some uncertainty and if he is true Democrat, he will analyze it and then will accept the existence of that political system. However, it is also necessary to act upon hypotheses sometimes. Sometimes we have to act upon hypothesis. Philosophy can help us choose the best possible hypothesis to act upon. Because these hypotheses and speculations are presented by philosophy, and now philosophy can help us to choose the best hypothesis among them. We must learn to act on such hypotheses, which even if they prove false, with no cause serious harm to anyone. So when there is no harm of these hypotheses, then we can act upon them. Next is the philosophy and religion. Philosophy can play an effective role in human life if it continues to suggest a way of life leading to happiness. If men can reach till happiness, and philosophy can guide us and can provide us the best possible way of life and towards happiness and prosperity, then we must accept philosophy. In this, its function is similar to that of religion. Religion also talk about the happiness, the real happiness, which is the matter of inside out. But philosophy is not totally religion. We can't say that philosophy is religion. There are some differences between philosophy and religion. Philosophy, unlike religion, is not bound by tradition or scriptures. Scripture means the religious books like Bible for Christians. So Christians have to accept what is written in Bible. They have to follow scriptures. And what remain the traditions of their religions, they have to follow them. And it is not the concern, and they can't go against the authorities of church. And the religion is bound for its preachings to establish church-like buildings. And philosophy is not bound by these scriptures, and no church-like buildings are required for philosophy. So it can emphasize, philosophy lays more emphasis on the development of intellectual virtues. Philosophy has concern with intellect, and it is trying to boost the intellect of man, whereas religious focused on more on moral values and moral importance. The last paragraph is philosophy and ethics. The philosophic spirit can be eliminate such beliefs which are caused by feeling of fear or self-esteem. Feeling of fear and self-esteem always leads us to superstition and dogmatism, because the base of superstitious beliefs or dogmatism is fear and self-esteem, especially in the cases of Nazis. Philosophy, so we can eliminate these beliefs by using philosophy. Philosophy can instill into us the kind of intellectual sobriety necessary for being able to view beliefs impartially and analytically. So philosophy can teach us to learn these beliefs analytically and then understanding the pros and cons of these beliefs and how it can be helpful in the happiness of human being. So such restraints can rid of all emotional bias and teach us to look at problem in an objective manner. So philosophy teaches us objectivity, that we must learn things with objective manner, because subjectivism is also a result of a dogmatism, that we will not be ready to accept what is present outside our own mind. So a subjective person is always a biased person, and he can't think wisely. So philosophy teaches us in objective manners. Russell suggests that even philosophy is not permitted to encroach into the time for technical subjects. It doesn't mean the students who are studying technical subjects related to science, then philosophy has no concern for them. Although philosophy is not the part of their course, because they have concern with science, scientific knowledge and scientific skills, but they can learn philosophy in their spare hours, because philosophy can polish their mind, it can boost their intellect, they can become wise and can learn those scientific skills with more wisdom. So philosophy can provide a person with the faculty of clear thinking and an understanding of his relation to society. So philosophy can encourage a better understanding of the evils of the world and inculcate the sanity necessary to deal with those evils. Philosophy can teach us that which evils are prevailing in their society, which are really harmful for individuals and society as well, and how to deal with those evils, how to overcome those evils, and how to get success against killing or destroying those evils, and to purify the society for a better living for human beings. So here I end this philosophy for layman. I hope so you will understand it easily now, and you have to put your own efforts to make it clear for your own sake. Thank you very much.